all the teams, all the time. It's Pro Football Wire's nightly recap with John Lund. Make sure you follow us on social media at PFB Wire and subscribe. Like and turn on your alerts on YouTube at Pro Football Wire. Now with the latest news around the NFL, here's Johnny.
Good evening. As you just probably watched Monday Night Football, maybe you watched the Troy Aikman, Joe Buck broadcast, maybe you're a Manning cast person, but maybe a changing of the guard in the AFC. Monday Night Football recap, plus we'll give you a few stories around the NFL on this Monday night. It is Pro Football Wire. Thanks for joining us. John Lund with you. And right there, as you can see, Trevor Lawrence and the Jags 31-20 over Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. It is Pro Football Wire. All the teams, all the time. John Lund with you. We take you through all of the NFL, and we're just starting out this venture. So check us out on X, as you can see up there, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all the places that you find social media. You'll either find us at Pro Football Wire or PFB Wire. Pro Football Wire or PFB Wire. PFB Wire on X, Pro Football Wire on YouTube, PFB Wire on Instagram, TikTok, the rest of them as well. As we take you through all of the NFL, we're finishing up the website as well, but you can follow us right now on X at PFB Wire. So make sure you're following us for all the NFL news. We give you news, we give you videos, give you good stuff, fun stuff. And like I said, we're putting the blog together on the website as well at pfbwire.com. So I'll let you know when that is live as well. But thanks for joining us. Monday Night Football post-game edition, and maybe we saw a changing of the guard, as we always do right there. The chalkboard will tell you where we're going to go tonight around the NFL for a little bit, but mostly Monday Night Football post-game show as the Chiefs lose to the Jags 31-28. You wouldn't have thought that Trevor Lawrence is going to outduel Patrick Mahomes, but that's exactly what happened, even when he fell down. We'll give you some of the videos. Just a crazy game at the end of this thing. LLOYD with an interception. We'll get into a little Travis Hunter talk. And also where the Chiefs are. I think that's the biggest question that everybody's going to be talking about in the talking head shows tomorrow on ESPN, Fox, and all those things. Is a lot of times it's not the team who wins. It's the team that's going to draw ratings. And they're not going to talk a ton about the Jags. And the Jags fans, all 8 of them, are going to get all pissed off about it. But the reality is it's more interesting to talk about the end of the Chiefs than it is whether the Jags are legit or not. So that's what we're going to do. Welcome in. And again, make sure you're following us on social media. Make sure you hit us with a like on YouTube as well. Hit us up on Instagram, TikTok, any of those kind of places. But make sure on YouTube, and if you're watching on X tonight, at John Lund Radio, thank you very much. We'll be running it as well on PFB Wire on X. So make sure you're subscribed there, and you'll get all the news, because that's where I'm going to put all the football news on there. But if you don't know me, I've been doing sports radio, writing TV for about 30 years, covered the NFL in Detroit, San Francisco, did pre and post game for the Raiders, pre-half and post for the 49ers, pre and post game for the Detroit Lions when they went 0-16 when there were just 16 games, pre and post game for the Dallas Cowboys for years too. So I've covered a lot of teams in the NFL, been to a lot of different Super Bowls and a lot of different things. So I know the NFL to an extent. So we love that you're tuned in tonight, wherever you're watching, whoever you are a fan of. Make sure that you're following us at Pro Football Wire or PFB Wire, as it would be on social media. So let's get to Monday Night Football. And right there, 31-28, the Jags over the Chiefs. So let's do a little bit of highlights. This right here ended up being a touchdown. I know that is crazy, but this is the game-winning touchdown play. I'm sure that's exactly how they drew it up, where Trevor Lawrence would fall on his ass, lay there for a second, jump up, and actually score a touchdown. It seems like the Chiefs, see the middle of that line? They're kind of just standing there. Like, I guess the play's over. No, this is not college. He fell down. He got up. He's not one of the more athletic quarterbacks. And by the way, if you watch me at all, I hate when people say a guy's not athletic. I'm not saying Trevor Lawrence is not athletic. He's an NFL freaking quarterback, for God's sake. But he got up. He scored. And I think the Chiefs kind of stopped there for a second, like, what's going on here? It almost confused them. But yes, Trevor Lawrence scored a touchdown on this play, the game-winning touchdown. You don't believe me? Here's how it happened.
Now Lawrence goes down, has to get up, breaks a tackle, touchdown Jacksonville.
And you hear Troy Aikman say, no way, that was a touchdown. And, you know, we talk about this all the time, and I think there's too much of this, but, like, everybody is constantly saying, I've never seen that before. I've never seen that before. Never seen that before. I've never seen a guy, he didn't fall once, he fell twice. He fell down twice and then got the game-winning touchdown. Watch. One,
now
two.
Lawrence goes down.
I have no idea how he scored. George Karlaftis on the other side was kind of like, what's going on? Did somebody already hit him? Do I need to hit him? And part of that is because of the rules in the NFL is like, I guess the guy's already down and I can't hit him because they all kind of just stopped. And then Lawrence kind of stumbled his way into the touchdown or for the touchdown, and they score 31-28. They end up getting this thing, and you just don't get that much with Patrick Mahomes. And to be honest with you, they were inept with the clock at the end of that thing. They were calling timeouts, so they should have run the ball. You can't give Patrick Mahomes any time on the clock. They only give him about 20 seconds. They would have given him more if they had scored earlier. They did get a pass interference in the end zone, which was legit. They missed one a little bit earlier. But the big question here is, we'll get into the stats and all these kind of things, but the big question and why you're here is, all right, what does this mean for Kansas City? We'll get into the Jags side of things, but the juice is, what does this mean for Kansas City? All of a sudden, let's look at the standings. They lose 31-28 tonight, and I'll give Jacksonville their credit in just a second, but that's not what's going to sell clicks. That's not what's going to sell headlines, these kind of things. The thing that everybody's going to talk about is what's going on with the Chiefs, because now Denver, and I told you this last night during the Sunday night recap here on Pro Football Wire, that the Broncos had lost a couple of games they shouldn't have lost. I think Jim Harbaugh is going to get the Chargers back on track, although losing Hampton, their rookie running back out of North Carolina, the only thing good to come out of North Carolina, because it sure as hell ain't Bill Belichick. What they're doing, I think they can still come back. They're 3-2, so they're okay. So you look at the top of the AFC, Indy's 4-1. Wow. The Bills lose for the first time to Drake May and the Patriots last night. I don't buy the Steelers, and if you're a Steelers fan, hit me up. I am open to comments and thoughts. The Chargers, like I said, have lost a couple in a row. I'm not off their bandwagon, although they've lost 2 running backs now, and Najee Harris and Omarion Hampton, and that's what Jim Harbaugh wants to do. So can he find himself a running back? They may be in the trade market. Jacksonville, we'll get to in a minute, at 4-1. Denver, I think, is legit at 3-2. I don't know about the Patriots at 3-2. Cincinnati's dead in the water. Houston's starting to show some life. And then there are your Kansas City Chiefs. And as bad as the Raiders have been, there's one game behind the Chiefs. Any team with Patrick Mahomes, this is how I look at them. Any team with Patrick Mahomes isn't out of it. We saw tonight. He was magical tonight. And he just doesn't have, and I'm not making an excuse, this is always when quarterbacks, get ripped and everything. And if this guy doesn't have any weapons around him, he's not any good. That's every quarterback in the history of the game. Joe Montana had Jerry Rice, Ricky Waters, Brent Jones, go on down the line. Tom Brady had Rob Gronkowski. For a minute, Aaron Hernandez. For a year, Randy Moss. Peyton Manning had Marvin Harrison and Edgerrin James and Reggie Wayne. I mean, go on down the line. Go look at every quarterback in the history of the game. I don't care who it is. Nobody does it alone, whether it's an offensive line, whether it's a running game, whether it's great wide receivers. They've got something, and you surround that quarterback with that. And right now, Patrick Mahomes, and I did think they were going to trade for a Tyreek Hill. Travis Kelce's done. I'm not going to say the Chiefs are done yet, but Travis Kelce's done. He's just not the player he was. So Kelce's not that threat in the middle of the field. And there's not a Tyreek Hill, and there's not anybody that, I'm not afraid of Hollywood Brown. I'm sorry. Worthy's really fast. The kid out of Texas Xavier Worthy is really fast. Not overly afraid of the guy. So they just don't have the talent, and the offensive line is inconsistent. So he can make all these otherworldly plays and keep teams in the game. And I think it was 14-16 in the first half. But when it comes down to it, the defense let them down. And you often don't see that with the type of defensive talent and coordinator that the Chiefs have. But that's what's going on right now. I'm not going to count them out at 2-3, though. All the talking head shows tomorrow will count the Chiefs out. Any team that has Patrick Mahomes is not out of it. Now, you look at the Ravens right now at 1-4. Look, this is the worst defensive team in the league right now, and even if Lamar Jackson gets back, they have trouble. Baltimore's done. Kansas City, they've got too much defensive talent. Steve Spagnuolo is too good of a defensive coordinator, and their front office is too good. They're not going to let Patrick Mahomes just sit here and do nothing. They're going to get him some receivers to throw the ball, and they're in a good, not great division. Chargers are hitting a little bit of a skid. Denver, like I said, I think is better than you think. I think they're a sleeper team in the AFC. So I'm not going to call Kansas City dead just yet. I'm not dead yet, Monty Python said one time. So they're not dead yet. So that's the story on Kansas City. Give me your thoughts here. Pro Football Wire, Monday Night Football recap. Jags over the Chiefs, 31-28. We'll do some more highlights in a second. But let's finish our conversation on the Chiefs. What do you think? Give me your thoughts on the Chiefs. Hit me up right underneath here, or for now, at John Lund Radio on X, or if you're watching X tonight, go over and subscribe to Pro Football Wire, at PFB Wire on X, at Pro Football Wire on YouTube, where a lot of you can come on over and join our chat room and hang out. Instagram, it's at PFB Wire. As you can see right at the top, TikTok, it's at PFB Wire as well. So everything's PFB Wire except for YouTube, which is at Pro Football Wire. So make sure that you're following along, have those alerts on, because we send out stuff during the day, shorts, all sorts of things, stories on the NFL, all sorts of things. We're almost, we got the website close to completion and that's going to be profootballwire.com. So make sure for your NFL news that you go there as well. So that's what we got going on. But give me your thoughts right now on the Kansas City Chiefs, 2-3. And remember, everybody buried the New England Patriots. Everybody buries the Golden State Warriors and Steph Curry. Everybody buries, we're always so fast to bury a team, and all of a sudden the Warriors win the championship in 22. Brady and the Patriots weren't quite dead, or at least, the Patriots, a lot of them thought he was done. He goes to Tampa Bay, wins a championship. So, again, Patrick Mahomes is barely 30 years old. If they've got Andy Reid, if they've got Patrick Mahomes, if they've got Chris Jones, if they've got, they've got just too much talent to not be better than they are. But they got to figure it out. Offensively, they are certainly not what they've been. And you know what? They haven't been that for a long time. It's just defensively, they've been that much better. Steve Spagnuolo and the type of defenders that they have, they're not quite at that level. Nick Bolton is still there. He made a play tonight. I mean, they've got guys on this defense. So I'm not gonna say Kansas City is dead quite yet, but they're certainly teetering at 2-3. But again, what are we? Not even a third through the season. There's a lot of time for them to right the ship, and with Mahomes, that's probably what's going to happen. All right, everybody going, hey, what about the Jacksonville Jaguars? They won the game tonight. They just don't have enough fans. Although I'll say this, Devin Lloyd is having one of the best walk years. So the former first-round pick out of Utah, really solid college career, plays solid early in his career with Jacksonville. Then he's kind of up and down. Well, he had 2 interceptions against the 49ers, and then he turns around and a 99-yarder, and this is very Mahomes, unlike Mahomes, stares down a receiver. Devin Lloyd sees it, brings it back for the pick 6 to give Jacksonville the 21-14 lead.
Second down. Picked off. Lloyd again. Devin Lloyd. What a year. Still rolling. Down the sideline. One man to beat. Lloyd. Pick 6.
First of all, that's a hell of a run back, 99 yards by a linebacker, but he steps right in front of it. Mahomes was looking at it the whole time. And not that Mahomes is perfect or anything. He made a hell of a lot of throws, but he stared down Devin Lloyd, who right now, I'm not going to say he's the defensive player of the year, but he's got to be in the top few. There's a couple of guys. There's a guy in Denver that's pretty decent with 7 sacks this year. But it usually goes to a guy with a lot of sacks. But Devin Lloyd right now is playing great defense. Jacksonville's a top 5 defense right now as far as points per game. That's the way I look at it. And they lead the league in turnovers. Coming into tonight's game, they were +9, and they had forced 13 turnovers. To put that in perspective, you think turnovers are important? The 0-5 Jets have forced 0 turnovers this year. Jacksonville is living on turnovers. They win that game because Devin Lloyd has that interception. So there's that. That's the defensive side. Now the offensive side, and then we'll talk all about Jacksonville. And again, you can still talk about Kansas City and where they are at 2-3 now if they're dead in the water. But I want to talk about Travis Hunter as well. So here's one of his this is the best play he made tonight, playing a couple of snaps on the other side of the ball as well. Did a nice job shutting down Travis Kelce on a couple of coverages. But this is the play of the night for Travis Hunter, the rookie out of Colorado.
Extra man on the rush. Lawrence is able to float it. And Hunter makes the catch.
You see that from him every single game, and I'm not down on Travis Hunter. It's just that when Cleveland made the trade and Jacksonville came up for number 2, and I get it. You're Jacksonville. I covered a Super Bowl in Jacksonville. It was such a small town that they put us on a cruise ship. I'm not kidding. They didn't have enough hotel rooms, so they put us on a cruise ship, and Jacksonville's never going to see another Super Bowl, but I'm sure they feel disrespected. And so they wanted to go out and get a star, and I like Travis Hunter. It's just he's not going to be that guy, especially at his size. What is he, about $182? He's shown flashes defensively. He shows a flash like that. He's made a couple of nice plays tonight. I'm not saying he's not a good player. It's just he's not a huge player, and I think at some point you're just going to have to say, what is he? Is he a corner or is he a wide receiver? He's just not big enough to play both ways. He's not Ohtani. He's not that kind of a guy, and I think that once he concentrates on one side and gets it out of his head that he's going to be a two-way player, I think he'd be a solid player in this league. But when they drafted him at number 2, when they gave up the draft capital, when they gave up a first-round pick, I'm not a fan. I like Travis Hunter. I think he's going to be a solid player in this league. But I say this all the time. People always come at me and say, you see that play this guy made? Say that throw that quarterback made? You see this? You see that? Yeah. They're professional players. If they couldn't make plays like that every once in a while, they wouldn't even be in the league. What professional sports is about is, and how guys get here and stay here, is that they're consistent every single Sunday. Baseball, there's 4 or 5 games a week. 4 times a week, you better be nailing it. Not 2, not 1. It's not about showing flashes. I'm the opposite of most people. When some people see a flash from a player in any sport, they go, oh my God, there it is. I've told you, you're wrong. Look at what he can do. No, it's about consistency. All players can have a flash. All NBA players can have a 20-10 night. They wouldn't be here if they couldn't, but you got to do it every single night. Oh, I got to do this every night? NBA plays, I don't know, 3-4 times a week. I don't know. You better do it 2 or 3 times a week. Same with baseball. Football, you only get one chance every Sunday. A catch here, a catch there, a flashy play, a play that goes viral on social media. That's not what the game is about. It's about consistency, play after play after play after play. And so Jacksonville, and let me go to Jacksonville. I'll move Kansas City aside for a second. Trevor Lawrence tonight, maybe he makes a big step because, look, in that draft a couple of years ago, remember, he's first pick, played. I was at the national championship game at Levi's Stadium near San Francisco, and I'm thinking, this guy's going to be the guy. He started a lot of games. He's going to be the next great one. He was the first pick. Zach Wilson goes 2 to the Jets, stinks. Trey Lance goes 3rd to the 49ers, now the backup in San Diego, with the Chargers. He stinks. Mac Jones is having a resurrection. Justin Fields can run. But you look at that quarterback class and you're going, ugh. But Trevor Lawrence is supposed to be the great one. And to me, he's been very underwhelming. But tonight, just like I was talking about last night on the show, on the Sunday night recap, Drake May had his coming out party last night. He beat Josh Allen on the road with a final drive. You don't do that. And that's going to give him confidence. And that's the way the game is played. We all talk about the physical side of the game with the quarterback. It's the mental side that wins over and over and over again. Look at the greatest quarterbacks of all time. They win the game mentally, whether they're physically gifted. They all are to a certain extent. But the greatest quarterbacks of all time are not the biggest. They don't throw the hardest. They don't have the most rocket, biggest arms. That's not what they do. They know the game better than you. Before the snap, they know what you're going to do, where the ball should go. That's how quick it goes. That's how they do it. Well, I think Drake May is going to start. He's got that kind of physical ability, but he's going to get the confidence, the mental side from winning that game. And maybe Trevor Lawrence tonight for Jacksonville is that same way. You just beat Patrick Mahomes. And I don't care what people say about the offensive play, the players and who they have and who they don't, and where their offense is and all those kind of things. They don't have the offense they once did. But Mahomes made some fireworks tonight. There's no question about it. And that's just what he does. He tries to will himself to win. And even with 20 seconds left in the game, after Lawrence had scored, I was screaming at the TV, looking at Jacksonville going, guys, you can't leave any time for Patrick Mahomes, especially with the way that the kickoff rule is. It's routinely, they're getting the ball at the 35, 40-yard line. And the way that guys can kick field goals nowadays, 55, 60 yards, they're doing that. So that means you get yourself around the, 40-something yard line, 45-yard line, you're in range. All of a sudden, you're in range. And that's, you get the ball. Now you're looking at 15 or 20 yards. So you can't leave any time on the clock for Mahomes. And I kept thinking as I've watched Patrick Mahomes beat great quarterback after great quarterback after great quarterback with last-second drives, Trevor Lawrence is not beating Patrick Mahomes. I get it that they're not on the field at the same time, but that's the matchup. Who's going to outduel who? And even though Trevor Lawrence fell down, got up, he scored, I'm looking at the clock going, okay, there was a weird timeout that Jacksonville called. So they get it done. They win. And now let me go back to the standings. I looked at it from a Kansas City perspective before, and now you look at it from a standpoint of the Jaguars. And again, this isn't going to be the popular opinion tomorrow. It's not going to be what's talked about in the Talking Head or on the Talking Head shows. It's going to be what the hell's going on with the Chiefs. So again, we went down here, look all the way down at 2-3, along with the Texans, along with the Bengals, just ahead of the Raiders is the 2-3 Chiefs. I'm not counting them out if you just joined me. Not a team with Patrick Mahomes and this kind of defensive talent. Now, let's look at Jacksonville in this. Indianapolis, I'm kind of a believer, but I still remember how bad Daniel Jones was. The Bills are legit. I know that Aaron Rodgers is highlighting the Steelers, but I'm very skeptical. The Chargers have lost a couple in a row and lost both their running backs. Denver is a legit team, and then I'm going to stop it right there. There's a drop-off to New England and Cincinnati at 3-2. But what do you think of the Jags? 4-1. Beat the 49ers. 49ers kind of beat themselves. 49ers, they scored 26 points against the 49ers, 17 on turnovers and 9 on special teams. They count, don't get me wrong, but the 49ers should have won that football game. Tonight, Kansas City had opportunities to win the football game, but again, the NFL is about winning by one score. This isn't college football where Alabama is playing, Louisiana Monroe. You're not going to get a 50-point a lot of times, 40 every once in a while, but these are one-score games. And so is it Trevor Lawrence out-dueling Patrick Mahomes? He did tonight. So we'll see going forward where Jacksonville is going to be. Is this one of those nights where you saw Trevor Lawrence at his best out-duel Patrick Mahomes, and that gives him confidence? Because I'm not going to be sold on Trevor Lawrence. Just because he was the first overall pick in the draft, to this point, and I include tonight's game, of course, he hasn't lived up to the billing of what everybody thought he was going to be. Just hasn't made enough plays. But tonight, he outdueled him. Not by himself. Lloyd gets the interception, got some plays, no doubt about it. But when it comes down to a one-score game and you leave time on the clock for Patrick Mahomes, you outdueled Patrick Mahomes. So is Jacksonville legit? Give me your thoughts underneath, or you can hit me up at PFB Wire on X or at John Lund Radio. I need a little bit more out of the Jags. Look at you look at the AFC South and you're thinking to yourself, well, Indianapolis, the Jags, are they going to be anything? And what I'm talking about is not can they get into the playoffs, but can they make any noise? So when I look at Indianapolis, I look at Jacksonville. To me, they're kind of the same. Jacksonville's got a really good defense with some talent. Indianapolis has really good talent on their defense. Jonathan Taylor for Indianapolis probably gives them a bit of an edge, but I still remember what Daniel Jones is and was. And same thing with Trevor Lawrence. Yep, first overall pick. Yep, highly heralded out of Clemson. Yep, I thought he was going to be the next big thing. He's still got a ways to go. But tonight's a big deal for Jacksonville to beat Kansas City and for him to outduel Patrick Mahomes. So that's a big win for Jacksonville tonight. So give me your thoughts on that, whether you want to talk about the Chiefs, the demise of the Chiefs. I'm going to say it's greatly exaggerated to this point. And the Jags, look, they're 4-1. I give them their flowers to a certain extent, but I'm not ready to put them amongst the elite of the AFC. Although you look at the AFC this year, think about it. Kansas City's 2-3. I think the Ravens are done at 1-4. I'm not going to call it a change in the guard because Baltimore just really banged up. Ton of injuries. But somebody's got to take hold of it this year at least. Indy's looking at it. Jacksonville's looking at it. I think Denver's an improved team. So we'll see. But the AFC doesn't look like it normally does with Baltimore and Kansas City at the top. Baltimore, I'm counting out. The Chiefs, not quite yet. So that's what we got. Monday Night Football postgame, 31-28. Jags over the Chiefs. Lawrence, as you can see right there, outduels Mahomes on the chalkboard. Devin Lloyd with the 99-yard pick six that I gave you. The Chiefs offense, it just doesn't scare anybody, like I said. I'm sorry. I know Xavier Worthy's fast. I know Hollywood Brown's fast. But if you don't have the underneath threat of Travis Kelce, it's just not the same team. They can't run the football. Patrick Mahomes is their leading rusher. We're almost a third of the way into the season. They don't have a running game. They don't have a running game. So while I sit here and I say that the Chiefs, I'm not going to count them out quite yet, and I think they'll make a trade or make some moves, they can't run the football, and Patrick Mahomes can't do it by himself offensively. And as far as these receivers are concerned, they just don't threaten anybody. Jacksonville's defense, and this is one of the reasons why they're legit or not, only 18 points per game. That's a legit defense, but can they continue with the turnovers? Again, number one in the league in turnover margin, number one in the league in forcing turnovers, and Devin Lloyd with the 99-yard return keeps that up tonight. Lots of times when you get a ton of turnovers, that starts to even itself out a little bit, but maybe they can get through the season because that is fueling what Jacksonville is doing right now, those turnovers. Travis Hunter, I mentioned him. We'll wait and see. I know a lot of people are really high on Travis Hunter. I think what Jacksonville should do is, if you think he's a receiver, make him a receiver. If you think he's a defensive back, make him a defensive back. Make him a corner. Decide what he's going to be, because he's not this big, strong, strapping dude. He's a very athletic, 5'10", 5'11", 182-pound guy, and he's not going to make it through an entire season. So I think Jacksonville, to optimize what he can be in this league, I think at some point they're going to have to make a decision on what he is. Are the Jags legit? We just talked about that. And are the Chiefs at 2-3 done? That is what's going to be the talking head show tomorrow. ESPN, Fox, they're all going to put dirt on the Chiefs. I'm not ready to do that quite yet. So again, give me your questions, comments, and thoughts. You can hit them right under here at Pro Football Wire, or you can hit me up both at PFB Wire on X and at John Lund Radio on X as well. Pro Football Wire, as we take you through all 32 teams. All right, let's hit you through the rest of the NFL. A couple of things that you need to know about, 3 to be exact, on this Monday night. Let me start at the top. Jonathan Gannon of the Cardinals said sorry. So I don't know if you saw this, and you know this. Amari Mercado, the running back of the Arizona Cardinals, with that mistake, 71-yard run, and at the end, like some reason this is happening 2 weeks in a row, and it's happened a lot, he lets the ball go before he breaks the plane, and therefore it's one of the dumber rules in the NFL. What did the defense do to do anything to get the ball back? Nothing. I know L'Jarius Sneed ran him down, which, former Kansas City Chief, is, I guess, admirable, but he dropped the ball. He was an idiot. So why do you get the ball back? I think if you want to do a touchback, have it be the Cardinals ball or whomever does this ball at the 20-yard line, and they try to score from there. But the defense didn't do anything to force this turnover. Mercado was just stupid. That's not the end of the story. You know, and Tennessee came back and won 22-21. If they get this touchdown, Arizona's 3-2, and we're not really talking about anything. But then after or during the game, near the latter part of the game, after Arizona had done a couple other dumb things to lose the game, including getting an interception, but then fumbling it into the end zone where Tennessee grabbed it, and then they got a last-second field goal to win the game, even though they were down 21-6 at the half. This is what the Cardinals head coach did when Mercado was on the sidelines. Now you can see, let me do the beginning of it. There he is right there. Paris Johnson, the big offensive tackle for the Cardinals, is trying to say, hey, man, it'll be cool. It's fine. It's fine. And then you see Gannon go over there and go off on Mercado. Let me play that for you one more time. 70 is Johnson. Mercado's 31, obviously. And here comes Jonathan Gannon right there and just goes off on Mercado about doing that. And I'll be honest with you, I got no issue with that. It's a dumb play. Look, guys make mental errors all the time. That's one of the dumbest, if not the dumbest, mental error you can make in the game of football. So that's what Gannon did. He got a lot of criticism for it. And I got to be honest, which I always am, we're just soft. I mean, you can't go after players. Players make dumb plays. I'm not advocating a Bobby Knight or, putting your hands on a player or doing anything like that. But this isn't Pop Warner. This isn't high school. This isn't even college. This is professional football, and you get paid a lot of money. And you let down an entire football team. To hell with the fans for a second. You let down an entire football team that every single week you try to go 1-0 in this league, and you bust your ass, and everybody's hurt, and everybody's hurting. And all you got to do is hang on to the fucking football beyond the 1-yard line. I'm sorry. It's stupid. Arizona's not my team. I'm just simply saying, from that perspective, I have no issue with Jonathan Gannon getting in the face of a player to say this is bullshit, that you can't do that, that how stupid you got to be, that we've seen it again and again and again. These are beyond basics. Speaking of Pop Warner, this is something like you tell an 8-year-old, hey, Jimmy, when you score a touchdown, remember, you got to run it all the way into the end zone. It's one of the most basic things you could ever do. And you're a professional football player getting paid a lot of money, and you let down an entire football team that's busting their ass. I'm sorry. I wouldn't be a teammate consoling him. I'd be a teammate going, you're a fucking idiot. What are you doing? Why are you costing us a football game? So here's Jonathan Gannon. Because we live in the society that we do, he has to apologize for being too mean to a guy who did an idiotic thing to cost his team a football game.
Video, David, but I woke up this morning and didn't feel great about it, honestly. And so in the team meeting, I addressed it. I apologized to Omari, apologized to the team. And I just told him I kind of let the moment of what happened get the better of me there. Obviously, like I try to be emotionally stable and calm because my job is to solve problems when during a game and kind of lead the charge on that. So it's not really who I am, who I want to be, and I told the guys that today. So it's a mistake by me, and it's just like everybody in there. Everybody made some type of mistake yesterday, which is, culminates to why we didn't win the game. And we can't let it happen moving forward.
First of all, I understand what he's saying as far as, look, essentially what he's saying is, I can't lose my cool. I'm the leader of this football team. But in that kind of a situation, when a guy does something that dumb, and oh, by the way, it just happened last week, and I guarantee you, because I know how these things work, every team in the NFL showed the clip from a week prior and said, do not do this. And, it's one thing, you have a celebration, you do this, you do that. There's taunting penalties in the NFL that are now being heightened and all these kind of things. Carry the football across the goal line. Why do I have to tell you that? At any level of football, let alone at the professional level. And now a coach whose ass is on the line, like I think like Jonathan Gannon is going to be shortly, he could get fired from Arizona. That was an embarrassing performance. You're up 21-6 on a winless football team with a rookie quarterback who doesn't have a clue. And they're on the road. And if you just hold on to the football a split more second, instead of flipping it up in the air like you're being, some sort of a, cool guy or badass or too cool for school that you can't carry the ball over the goal line. What is that? You cost us a football game. This is not for fun. This is a multi-billion-dollar business. And people lose jobs because of it. And yet, because we live in the society we do, all these sheep, look at Jonathan. Yeah, look what he did. Yeah, the guy made one of the dumbest plays that you can make. He should be an example. He should get yelled at. It's professional football, but we're so soft that nobody can do anything. It's okay, Jimmy, here's a participation trophy. Because when I look at Jonathan Gannon, he's a guy to me, and I'll show you a dead man walking in a second as far as the head coach in the NFL is concerned. But as far as Arizona is concerned, there's something around them, and it's been going on for a really long time, that they're not bad enough to be this losing franchise, but they're not good enough to just not have a stink on them. They're always 7-10 or 8-9 or 9-8 or just out of the playoffs or that's just the way it is. And some people can blame Kyler Murray. It wasn't his fault. Guy had an interception, fumbled it, and Tennessee recovered in the end zone. That's not Kyler Murray. Some quarterbacks aren't the greatest leaders. I get it. He didn't go to the podium and say, it's okay. I don't think he should have. I don't think Jonathan Gannon should have said sorry. I get it where he's saying that I lost my cool and I can't do that as a head coach. But he's starting to kind of lose it here with the Cardinals. And he's going to be a good head coach somewhere else. I think he's a good head coach. I just think there's something weird about Arizona. And I talked about this last night about losing cultures and trying to change losing cultures. It's very difficult to do. And so a lot of people want to blame Kyler Murray for it. Kyler Murray didn't let the ball go at the 1 yard line. Kyler Murray didn't fumble a football into his own end zone. Didn't happen. Like a holy roller kind of a play. He played well enough to win a football game. They were up 21-6. I mean, look, he's the leader of the offense, and he deserves certain blames. There's no doubt. But the two dumb plays that Arizona made that could cost Jonathan Gannon his job, not directly right now, but if Arizona doesn't get this thing going, they started 2-0. They've lost 3 in a row. They lost to Seattle at home in a last-second field goal. Probably could have won that game. And they lost to a horrible Tennessee team that with the Jets, Tennessee, and the way the Raiders are playing right now, it's a 3-horse race for who's the most horrendous football team right now. But Tennessee going into that game, clueless quarterback in Cam Ward, being a rookie, that's what rookies do. And you let them hang around in the game, and they end up winning, and you make 2 stupid plays, and that reflects on the head coach. So at some point, Arizona's going to do what a lot of bad teams do. He's a good head coach. I think he can win in this league. But you know what's going to happen? He's going to get kicked to the curb because that's what they do. They give you 2 or 3 years. They don't let you bring in your own players. They don't give you any kind of runway or leeway, even though you've got to change an entire losing culture, and the guy's going to get fired at some point. And they're going to look back at the Tennessee game and go, that's when the clock started ticking. That's when the fuse was lit for him to get fired, Jonathan Gannon. So for him to get pissed off on the sidelines because he's feeling the pressure now that they lose a football game in embarrassing fashion to Tennessee, and it starts to be like, whoa, his seat is warm. But he can't get pissed off because we live in a society that everybody's like, did you see him yell at a professional football player? He better say sorry. So here's the real dead man walking. This is Mike McDaniel. I told you about him last night. They lose to Carolina. They're a team that looks unprepared. I know they have injuries, but they look unprepared. They look unmotivated. They don't want to play for the coach anymore. Just that's one of the biggest charges you can make against professional athletes, but it certainly looks that way to me after covering the NFL for 25 years. And then Mike McDaniel, who is usually upbeat, funny, fun. And I told you this, it's not funny and fun when you're losing, but it looks to me like he's very discombobulated in this whole thing. This was part of his press conference today as they get ready for the Chargers.
We talked about He was really frustrated at the, just like he's as I was, and we talked about the challenge ahead to get ready for the Chargers.
What in the what? I mean, this is a dude that is like, he's on thin ice. He doesn't have a patient owner. Miami used to be one of the proud franchises, and they're just a complete mess. They need a complete overhaul. And when Mike McDaniel got to Miami, he made the playoffs his first year. Like I said, I knew Mike when he was a member, the offensive coordinator, even though Kyle Shanahan called plays with the 49ers. I mean, the guy's a brilliant offensive mind. Ivy League educated, been a huge part of the game since he was a ball boy in Denver. I mean, the guy knows the game. I just don't think he's a leader of men. And right now, he's just showing the emotions. He's an emotional kind of a guy, and I think he is your first coach fired in the NFL. So we'll see that this year, but I think he is going to be the first coach fired, that being Mike McDaniel. And finally, the weirdness of the story of Mark Sanchez continues. The New York Post got video of Sanchez after he was stabbed. So if you know the story a little bit, here's the New York Post reporting, including a video of Mark Sanchez after he was stabbed.
In exclusive footage obtained by the Post, a bloody Mark Sanchez can be seen staggering along the street, clutching his wound after being stabbed in the side. The former Jets quarterback can be seen putting his hand on what appears to be a bloody wound just below his chest as he walks down a street in Indianapolis. The dramatic new footage shows the aftermath of a violent fight on Saturday, which resulted in a 69-year-old grease truck driver stabbing Sanchez multiple times after the retired NFL player attacked him, according to authorities. Sanchez apparently got into an altercation with the grease truck driver in an Indianapolis alleyway when the worker's truck was allegedly blocking his way. Things escalated after the older man couldn't hear the drunken Sanchez because he'd removed his hearing aids. The 230-pounder then allegedly slammed him into the ground. The truck driver even pepper sprayed Sanchez before reaching for something to stab with, but Sanchez allegedly kept attacking him, according to police. Grisly photos from the aftermath showed the elderly man, identified solely by his initials, PT, bloodied in a hospital bed with his head propped up with a neck brace and a laceration to his cheek. Sanchez, who was initially hospitalized in critical condition but stabilized, was discharged from the hospital the next morning and sent straight to jail, with his original charges upgraded from several misdemeanors to a level 5 felony battery of causing serious injury. Sanchez is also accused of stabbing the man in the face. Family members of the truck driver told the Post the worker was doing okay. According to Marion County prosecutor Ryan Mears, if found guilty, a felon battery charge could land Sanchez in prison for 1 to 6 years. Sanchez reportedly posted his $300 cash bond before being booked and told police he had no memory of the incident.
Okay, now there's the issue right there. He has no memory of the incident, so obviously Sanchez was overserved. Just a really strange story. 69-year-old grease truck driver. So he goes around to restaurants and gathers their grease, and I guess he recycles the grease or whatever it is. He had taken out his hearing aids. He's parked down this alleyway. Sanchez is pissed off because he can't get by. They get in a fight. The guy's trying to get Sanchez off him. And again, as they say in the New York Post right there, and you saw Sanchez kind of grasping the bloody spot where he got stabbed. Sanchez is like 6'5", 230. So the guy can't get him off him. So he turns, I guess he got a knife in his truck or something, knifes the guy. And then Sanchez was in the hospital, stabilized, as you heard, after critical condition. And then once he stabilized, they took him to the police station to get charged for potentially a felony. And then on top of that, today it was announced that the truck driver is, of course, suing Mark Sanchez and suing Fox. One of the weirdest stories you will ever hear. So we'll keep you up to date on everything that's going on, but just a really strange story. And again, as you can see, let me show you the beginning of this whole thing. Here's Sanchez. That's video of Sanchez right there. Let me run this for you. Right there. There's Mark Sanchez right there. And you can see he's got his hand on like a
exclusive footage obtained by the Post, a bloody...
Save it, buddy. So there you go. There's the blood right there on Mark Sanchez. Just a wild story, man. But we'll see how it plays out. I mean, he's already hired a big-time lawyer. The guy's already trying to sue the guy. I mean, this is just one of the nuttiest stories ever. And to be honest with you, just aside from that, it's okay. It's a strange story. Sanchez has been on my radio show a number of times, and I think he's a really good analyst. I mean, you may not like Mark Sanchez, whatever the case may be, wasn't a great quarterback. I get that, all blah, 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 blah. But in terms of being an analyst, he's a pretty good analyst. I like what he brings to the table. Like I said, I've on the radio show a couple of times. He's very good, very personable, kind of funny. So weird situation, though. The whole thing is just weird because I guess he did stab the guy in the face or something, maybe when they were battling. But he was the one who got the worst of the deal, and now he's getting sued. He's getting charged. Just a crazy story on Mark Sanchez. So there you go. That is your Monday Night Football recap. Just to let you know, chalkboard at the top of the table there. Monday Night Football postgame. Jags 31, Chiefs 28. Trevor Lawrence outduels Patrick Mahomes. Devin Lloyd had the 99-yard pick six. The Chiefs offense not scaring anybody with those receivers. Jacksonville's D. Turnovers, the name of the game as they add the big ones tonight. Travis Hunter, I think they need to make a decision on him one way or the other. I think he's a receiver. Are the Jags legit? The Talking Head shows won't talk about that tomorrow, but top of the AFC, Kansas City 2-3, Baltimore 1-4, those normal teams that are up there. The Bills are still up there. By the way, if the Bills can't get it done this year, the Bills aren't going to get done because Kansas City looks not quite, even though I'm not going to put them away just yet. I think Baltimore is put away. If the Bills can't do it this year, I don't know when the Bills are going to do it. I know the Chiefs done it 2-3. I don't think so. Around the NFL, of course, Jonathan Gannon says sorry because he has to, not because I think he really feels that way. The zombie coach, Mike McDaniel, is going to be the first fired, and the Mark Sanchez story continues to get more and more strange by the day. That is Pro Football Wire's Monday night recap. Again, the Jags over the Chiefs, 31-28, plus a couple of things you need to know around the NFL. Please make sure you're subscribed to the channel on YouTube. That is at PFB Wire on YouTube. Make sure that you are subscribed. Get those alerts on because we send out shorts on the NFL throughout the day. If there's breaking news, we do that as well. Make sure you're following us on X as well at PFB Wire. On X at PFB Wire. On Instagram at PFB Wire. At TikTok at PFB Wire. And on YouTube as well. Again, YouTube at PFB Wire. All the NFL news you need to know. We send it out on X. We got the website coming up soon as well, and we appreciate you hanging out every single night to talk pro football and talk the NFL with us. Any stories, any news, any thoughts, hit us right there underneath here with your questions, comments, and thoughts. I'm also on X a lot at John Lund Radio and at PFB Wire. Other than YouTube, that is the best place to find me. Again, 31-28, your Monday Night Football recap. The Jags over the Chiefs, and the big question will be, are the Chiefs done? We tend to always put them in their coffin early, whether it be the Pats or the Warriors or some of these teams that have had those long runs. But are the Chiefs done at 2-3? I don't think so, as long as Patrick Mahomes is around. What do you think? Tell me. Hit me up. Have a great night. Monday Night Football recap from Pro Football Wire.